Law firm of the Jaguars, protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. He's Hacker.
So much so that I had to ask around. I'm like, hey, I'm kind of a nice guy, right?
Hacker is an ass.
I try, as I'm getting into my old age at 39 years old, try not to let things bother me. Just know that I'm ultra soft.
And he doesn't shy away from opinions.
See Baker Mayfield throw 4 passes, but I get to see this homeless guy return a ball for a touchdown.
It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Oh, yeah. Can you feel it? The National Football League has returned. Toe meets leather in Canton, Ohio, in a matter of moments. Remember, the Jaguars were in this game last year. Tonight, it's all about Kellen Mond and Zach Wilson as the Cleveland Browns and the New York Football Jets kick off the NFL preseason. They're introducing the Hall of Fame class of 2023 right now as football is back after 6 long months. We now have at least one NFL football game, preseason, regular season, or postseason, every week until the middle part of February. With that, a good evening to you, Jacksonville. It is a Thursday night edition of Hacker After Dark here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM with Dylan Denmark. The Hacker Ryan Green with you. Glad you are with us as we are absolutely jam-packed tonight here on Hacker After Dark. The Jaguars now 8 days into their training camp. They have a well-deserved day off tomorrow, and then they have a stadium practice on Saturday. Looking forward to being down there to take in some training camp at TIAA Bank Field. And I believe they're going to go 3 straight padded practices on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. As far as the guest lineup tonight, well, as you can imagine, we are loaded. Coming up in the next 10 minutes, actually inside of 10 minutes, Jaguar running back JaMycal Hasty. I had the opportunity to catch up with him following training camp this morning. Really enjoyed that conversation. JaMycal Hasty's a guy that got about 350 all-purpose yards for the Jags last year, scored 2 very long touchdowns, caught 20 passes from Trevor Lawrence out of the backfield. How does he factor in? What has he seen from Tank Bigsby? What has he seen from Travis Etienne? The interesting thing about JaMycal Hasty, remember, he came in at the end of August last year. So he is going through his first training camp with the Jaguars, and he's looked good out there, man. He's looked really good. So we'll talk to JaMycal Hasty in less than 10 minutes. Coming up in less than 20 minutes, Yasir Abdullah. Had a chance to talk with him earlier this week out of Jaguar training camp, the 5th-round pick out of Louisville. We'll bring you his thoughts, his perspective on his first training camp as an NFL professional. And later on in the 8 o'clock hour, my friend Eric Edholm of NFL.com, he will stop by to look at the Jaguar rookies and look around the young players in the AFC South as preseason football is set to get underway this evening. So we are loaded. Glad you are with us. Every night here on Hacker After Dark, we do kick it off with a big deal of the night and Dylan Denmark. Let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal?
What is the big deal?
No big deal.
It is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
You know, in talking to JaMycal Hasty earlier today, it got the wheels turning, right? It got me thinking a little bit. We have spent so much time, and with good reason, on Calvin Ridley, on Christian Kirk and Zay Jones, on Evan Ingram, and on Travis Etienne. Those are the 5, right? The Jaguar 5. When you talk about skill position, Etienne, Ingram, Ridley, Jones, and Kirk. But there are some guys that we probably haven't talked enough about. Some guys, under the radar guys, if you will, that are probably going to contribute and need to contribute in 2023. You look on the offensive side of the ball, I would put Jamal Agnew on that list. I like what Jamal Agnew can do. Now, of course, can't fumble the ball, which is what happened in Kansas City last year. But Jamal Agnew as a fourth option at the wide receiver position, you could do a lot worse than that. The guy I'm about to talk to, JaMycal Hasty. I like JaMycal Hasty. That guy came in cold turkey off the street after being released, I believe, in San Francisco. Was signed by the Jaguars at the end of August, beginning of September last year, and was thrust right in. He was the backup running back for a majority of the year. 350 all-purpose yards, like I said, a couple of touchdowns. I think JaMycal Hasty could have an impact. Obviously, the two rookies, Brenton Strange at tight end, Tank Bigsby at running back, second-round pick, third-round pick. You could potentially see those guys making an impact. After that, Garrett Prince, the tight end, has been a training camp stud to this point. Will a fifth wide receiver emerge, whether that's Parker Washington, the rookie out of Penn State, Tim Jones, the guy that made the team last year. And then they got guys like Kevin Austin. They got a guy like Seth Williams that are battling for playing time. So the point is, we talk about the quantity of guys with Ingram, Etienne, Ridley, Jones, and Kirk. And that's 5 guys. That's a lot of playmakers. But even underneath that, with Agnew, with Hasty, with Strange, with Bigsby, with Garrett Prince, this Jaguar offense is loaded with skill position talent. Loaded. As we talked about earlier in the week, it's certainly going to come down to the offensive line, and we will continue to talk about that because that's a big topic. But just don't look at the main 5. Even guys behind them on the depth chart are good players and could make a real nice impact here in 2023. One of those guys I would say is on that list is the guy I had a chance to talk to earlier today down at Jaguar training camp, JaMycal Hasty. 194 rushing yards last year for the Jaguars, 120 receiving yards last year for the Jaguars. The guy caught 20 passes a year ago, 20 catches out of the backfield. He stopped by earlier today at Jaguar training camp. Here's that conversation on Hacker After Dark. All right, Thursday training camp session in the books. Ryan the Hacker Green for 1010XL out here with Jaguar running back JaMycal Hasty. JaMycal, 8 practices in, man. How are things coming together?
It's going great, man. Timing is timing up well with the quarterbacks between receivers and the quarterbacks, running backs. Linemen's moving good, offense moving good, defense, special teams. It's been fun. So just ready to get another day in.
You know, it's interesting. I think about you, and I think, Hasty's been here a while, but then you really think about it, it's been less than a calendar year. You were picked up at the end of August, so this is really your first off-season with this team, your first off-season, first training camp with your teammates. From that aspect, where are you now, say, to when you arrived here, last August, last September?
Right, so last year was kind of much just getting thrown into the fire. Like, as you mentioned, getting here week 1, just trying to learn the playbook as fast as I can, get caught up to speed. So now it's more so just being comfortable in the system, knowing and understanding schemes. I feel comfortable, I feel confident in, knowing my job and just having fun with it.
You got here, like we said, at the end of August last year. You made an impact, man. You got on the field, made some nice plays, were part of the passing game. Is that what you feel like your role is going to be again this year, the third down type back? You had 20 catches last year. Is that what you hope to achieve again this season?
We'll see, man. My only focus is just being the best version of myself as a football player, and let Doug and the coaches, figure the rest out.
What about the skill position on this offense? Calvin Ridley arrives. You draft Brenton Strange. You draft Tank Bigsby, obviously yourself, and Kirk, and Zay, and Evan. You can go on down the line, man. It must be exciting to be a part of this offense.
It is, man. There's a lot of talent outside between receivers, tight ends, running backs. A lot of talent, a lot of speed, a lot of physicality, a lot of weapons, So Trevor, he'll have fun for sure.
A couple of more for JaMycal Hasty. All right, you're not the old guy yet, but you're one of the veterans, right? You got a youngster in Tank Bigsby coming in. Guys like you, guys like Etienne, what do you tell the young guy when he arrives as far as the league, how to prepare for what's ahead, that sort of thing?
Right, and more so just taking it one day at a time, and understanding the process and enjoying the process. You're not going to, Rome's not built in a day, you know what I mean? It's day by day. just putting the time in, you know, and having fun and enjoying it. So that's pretty much the main message to him is just because he's talented. He has all the tools. He's the guy giving that. So it's just more so his mentality and the mental aspects of it and just handling everything. So.
What do you see out of Travis Etienne from where he is now to where he was when you arrived?
Yeah, big strides, man. Just understanding schemes better. It's explosive as he's always been, fast as he's always been, catch the ball as he always have. Just Travis being Travis, you know what I mean? And just elevating his game to the next level. And I think, you know, we all see it out here today.
Final moments here with JaMycal Hasty, Jaguar running back. All right, Trevor Lawrence, all the hype coming in around this football team. Do you guys hear the outside chatter? Do you hear guys like me talking about how great you're going to be and you know, the AFC South? I mean, or do you try to block that noise out and focus one day at a time?
Yeah, you definitely block that noise out and just come in here and work for the guys that, you know, you work with, you go to meetings with, we do everything with. You know, it's a family inside of this building, and it's tight-knit, you know. And you see, as you mentioned with Trevor, nothing bothers him. So he's, you know, he's great. He'll be great for our team.
What happened last year? You were 4-8, right, coming off that loss in Detroit. And then something happened with this football team, and you hope to carry that over into this season. Can you put your finger on why 6 in a row to end the year before the Kansas City game?
It'll be hard to pinpoint one thing, but the main thing I can say is just belief. You know what I mean? This team has a lot of belief. We believe in each other. We believe in our coaching staff. We believe in our abilities. We believe in the scheme and, you know, and our plays. So, and I think that's the main thing. And, you know, after that, we was like, hey, man, let's just bring it together. You know, let's go on the run. And, you know, and we did that, and we was able to accomplish some things. But this year, we're looking forward to, you know, being better.
Miller Electric Center. You like this place?
I love this place, man. There's nothing like coming to work in a place like this, facility like this. The best in the league, you know what I mean? Very thankful for it, so it's been great.
In the stadium on Saturday, you looking forward to putting a show on for the fans?
Oh, yeah, most definitely, man. At the end of the day, it's another day of work, another day of practice, just trying to go out there and get better.
JaMycal, appreciate it, my friend.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Thanks. There you go, JaMycal Hasty, running back of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Interesting room, the running back room. Travis Etienne, Tank Bigsby, JaMycal Hasty. They brought in D'Ernest Johnson, Snoop Connor, still in the mix as well. I doubt they keep all 5. 5 running backs would be a lot. You probably keep 4. You definitely keep 3. You probably keep 4. But I would think I'd be stunned if JaMycal Hasty was not on this roster. I think he's good enough. He's earned a spot. They brought him back this offseason when they re-signed him, so they obviously like JaMycal Hasty, and I certainly like what I've seen out of him so far 8 days in to training camp. And as far as Etienne goes, he's going to have some help this year. Remember when they traded James Robinson last year, the only guy behind him really was JaMycal Hasty, who had been here a month. He came in at the end of August, the beginning of September. So you trade away James Robinson, all of a sudden the only guy behind Etienne has been here less than 4 weeks. Now, Hasty's been here a full year. You draft Tank Bigsby in round 3. You signed D'Ernest Johnson. So there is certainly a lot more depth in that running back room than what the Jaguars did have a year ago. That's the offensive side of the ball. We'll look at the defensive side of the ball coming up. 5th-round pick out of Louisville. Yasir Abdullah will join us coming up here on Hacker After Dark as we will take a look at the pass rush. Is that still a concern? Somewhat of a concern for me. I think the Jaguars' pass rush and potentially at corner are 2 of my bigger concerns going in to preseason football. The NFL preseason has officially kicked off. The Hall of Fame game up in Canton, Ohio, Cleveland, and New York, as the Cleveland Browns and Kellen Mond, I believe, getting the start tonight. We will keep you updated. Amazingly, Denmark, I would imagine people have put money on this game.
Oh, 100%.
There was a line on the Hall of Fame game.
Yeah, yes, without question.
And the first pass of the preseason was complete for a screen, Donovan Peoples-Jones. If you had Donovan Peoples-Jones as the first guy to make a catch in the NFL preseason, winner, winner, chicken dinner for you. Again, we will keep you updated. More on the Jaguars, more on the National Football League. It is a Thursday night in Jacksonville, Florida. We're glad you're with us. Jaguar rookie Yasir Abdullah next on Hacker After Dark.
Jaguar football starts here.
Take care of the ball. Both hands on the rock.
We are live at the stadium with breaking Jaguars news.
Green 89.
1010 XL.
Rick Ballou for Carlson Dental. You know, I've been telling you this for quite some time because it's true. I hate going to the dentist, or at least I used to hate going to the dentist. I had total anxiety, and then I tried sedation, light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation as well for cavities and root canals. Folks, it's an incredible experience. So don't be nervous, don't be scared. Go to CarlsonDentalGroup.com. That's CarlsonDentalGroup.com for all of your dental needs.
Hey, so where do we tee off?
Tee it high and let it fly.
He's got a beautiful backswing.
Oh, he got all of that one.
Tour news, local updates, and the latest gear. Cut a few strokes off your game Saturday mornings at 10 with the Edwin Watts Golf Hour on 1010XL.
Are you an electrician looking for better pay and benefits? Miller Electric Company has the industry-leading compensation package. Electricians are eligible for a signing bonus up to $1,000. Now, they're partnering with the Jaguars on their new performance facility, the Miller Electric Center. Miller Electric has opportunities for you to work on some of the most exciting projects right here in Jacksonville. Whether you're experienced or not, visit MillerCareers.com, an equal opportunity employer. That's MillerCareers.com.
Here's your 1010XL First Coast Community Calendar.
You can be part of a fishing tournament with a real local impact. The Triple Challenge Fishing Tournament, Party, and Silent Auction benefits Young Life in the Beaches community. Learn more at JacksonvilleBeachesYoungLife.org.
To learn more about the Jericho School Golf Tournament and Silent Auction at Blue Sky Golf Club October 21st, visit thejerichoschool.org.
Dreams Come True is the only local wish-granting organization giving dreams and special times to local children battling life-threatening illnesses. Find out how you can help at dreamscometrue.org.
The Knights of Columbus 5535 Annual Golf Tournament is November 6th at Glen Kernan Country Club. To find out how to play or sponsor, call 249-5535.
The Walk in the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society Light the Night Walk on November 16th at UNF. Register at lightthenight.org.
If you're involved in a community event and you'd like us to help spread the word, find out how at 1010XL.com. This Date in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On August 3rd, 2007, Alex Rodriguez becomes the youngest player in MLB history to hit 500 home runs, connecting on the first pitch he sees as Yankees beat Royals.
Brian Wall here. Would you take your paycheck, go to the bank, cash it, and then simply throw it up in the air? I didn't think so. But in a way, over the years, that is exactly what you're doing if you have old or builder-grade windows in your home. Even if you have a brand new home, those windows are not the best windows you can have to save on your energy bills. Window World has sold millions of replacement windows to homeowners like you, and Window World's customer satisfaction is the highest in the business. Please check Window World out yourself and save on your new windows and on your energy bills. Compare with other companies and you'll see Window World is simply the best for less. It's up to you. You can call Window World and get a free estimate, get the best guarantee in the window replacement business, save money on your new windows, and save more on your energy bills. Call Window World today at 904-443-7001 or go online to windowworldneflorida.com. Thank you for your business.
Window World also offers energy-efficient doors.
Are you drowning in credit card debt? Want to get cash out of your home's equity? Loan Pronto can now do it in less than a week. Hey, it's Prosser here, and that's right. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit just got even faster. You can get $50,000, $100,000, or even $200,000 in as little as 5 days. And you don't even have to touch your primary mortgage, so you can keep that 3% rate intact. Just get the money you need and pay off all those credit cards or get that home improvement project started. With this revolutionary program, you can access up to 90% of your home's value, and in most cases, there's no appraisal. Stop paying insane interest rates to the credit card companies and get tens or even hundreds of thousands in cash in as little as 5 days. Call Loan Pronto now for the even faster Equity Express line. 904-999-1508. LoanPronto.com or 904-999-1508. That's 904-999-1508. Equal housing lender, NMLS 16617881, subject to lender approval.
Hey, Matt Hayes here. Expert Automotive is now open at our brand new state-of-the-art facility on St. John's Bluff Road. As always, every repair comes with a lifetime service repair warranty. Come celebrate our grand reopening by getting a free AC inspection, $50 off any repair, $199 brake specials, and free diagnostics all month long. Call 374-3373 or visit us at our new location at 2190 St. John's Bluff Road. Expert Automotive. We never sell greed, only what you need.
Wondering what you're going to do for dinner tonight?
Southern Steer Butcher is a full-service butcher that offers take-and-bake side options that are oven-ready.
Now open in Ortega. For tasty tips and juicy breasts, choose Southern Steer Butcher.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars, protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555, Jacksonville.
See Baker Mayfield throw 4 passes, but I get to see this homeless guy return a ball for a touchdown.
Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Yeah, that was back in the preseason when Baker Mayfield was doing his thing in Cleveland. Baker Mayfield apparently in more of a quarterback battle in Tampa than one was led to believe. That's at least the reports coming out of Tampa with Baker Mayfield and Kyle Trask. It is a Thursday night edition of Hacker After Dark, the NFL preseason underway. Denmark, when you're like me and you're in these dynasty fantasy football leagues,
yes,
the NFL preseason means a little more to you because you see some of the rookies that you drafted. I drafted Cedric Tillman for Cleveland, the former Tennessee Volunteer. He made a nice little grab there on their opening drive. So that might have gotten a little bit of a reaction from me in NFL preseason football.
I'd kind of be with you, but when I saw Jamar Chase have that awful preseason a couple of years ago, and everybody was like, "Don't get him. He's not good. He's a bust." And then we saw what he did. So
yeah, that's fair. By the way, the Cleveland Browns just missed a field goal, so the Jets will take over. And no, it's not Aaron Rodgers. It is Zach Wilson starting for the New York Jets tonight. They'll be on offense first, scoreless in Canton at the NFL Hall of Fame game. So we're going to have Yasir Abdullah coming up here in just a bit. I had a chance to catch up with him yesterday after training camp, the 5th-round pick of the Jacksonville Jaguars out of Louisville. But before we get there, I came across this on CBSSports.com. And they lump every AFC team in this, all 16 teams, in the American Football Conference. And the headline is the biggest question for every AFC team. All right? Simple enough. Biggest question. An example is Baltimore. Can Todd Monken, the former Georgia OC, strike a balance with the new offense? And then it goes in depth about that. For Buffalo, who is that number 2 offensive weapon? Right? You go down to Cincinnati. How will the new look secondary fare? So on and so forth. So then I scroll down to Jacksonville. And my man Jordan Dejani of CBS Sports put this list together. Jordan's a friend of the program, friend of the station. And I happen to agree with his biggest question about the Jaguars. And it's a simple one, but man, it is a big one. Will the defense let the offense down? Simple, straightforward. Will the Jaguar defense let the offense down? See, here's my thought. The Jaguars, to me, have potential on defense, but make no mistake about it, they have question marks, man. They have question marks about affecting the opposing quarterback, and I believe there are question marks in the secondary, primarily at corner. Tyson Campbell, I think, is going to be very good. After that, I don't know. I think Darius Williams is fine. But after your 2 corners, then you go into Trey Herndon. Then you go into Chris Claybrooks. Then you go into Gregory Jr., Christian Braswell, Buster Brown. I mean, there are questions on that Jaguar defense. The good thing is the Jaguars, to me, don't need to be the steel curtain, right? They don't need to be the 2000 Ravens. We're not asking the Jaguar defense to reinvent the wheel here. Be serviceable. Be a middle-of-the-pack defense. If Jacksonville can rank 15th in defense, and I don't think that's asking too much, if you can hold your opponents to between 20 and 24 points a game, you're probably going to win just on the fact that your offense is going to outscore people. Again, the Jaguars are not going to shut opposing teams down, or I would be very surprised if they shut opposing teams down. They just can't be dreadful, right? They can't be bad. Be average. Be an average defense, and if you're an average defense, you're going to win a lot of games because your offense is going to outscore people. But again, it's not good that on August 3rd, and maybe I'm overthinking it. If you guys disagree, feel free to let me know on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Are you okay with the Jaguar pass rush? And are you okay with the Jaguar secondary? I myself am not. I have questions about that. What say you? 641-1010 on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. One of the guys that's looking to get in to that defense, make an impact this year, is Yasir Abdullah. He was picked 136 out of Louisville. He was very good in rookie minicamp. He's been solid in training camp earlier this week. In fact, yesterday I had the opportunity to catch up with Yasir Abdullah, and here's that conversation right now on Hacker After Dark. Jaguar training camp, a Wednesday edition in the books. Ryan the Hacker Green for 1010XL out here with Jaguar rookie Yasir Abdullah. Yasir, officially a week in to training camp. How are things going for you?
Man, it feels great, man. Just seeing all the vets back, like Josh, Trey, Jordan, KC, all them guys, man. It's smooth as well. You know, just teaching me all the things I need to know about training camp.
You were one of the last ones off the field. Practice ended a half an hour ago. You're still out there working. You're still out there talking to guys. That's what you got to do, right? You gain as much knowledge as you can.
Of course. Yeah, that's what, you know, the older guys always preach, man. There's always times you can get better. You're never perfect, you know what I'm saying? Even though you had a great day at practice, there's always something you need to learn, always something you need to take out of that practice field. So,
the last 3 months for guys like you are insane, right? You get drafted. You have to come to Jacksonville, a city you've probably never been to. Rookie minicamp, OTAs, veteran minicamp, and all of a sudden, bam, you're into training camp. I mean, for people that never lived that, what have the last 3 months been like?
Man, it's been amazing, actually. I've been to Jacksonville quite a few times for track, but other than that, just being here, like, it's a beautiful city, nice, great people here, and, you know, just being with my rookie class, you know, just they're hyping me up each and every day to get better, motivating me each and every day to, you know, because I'm here, I'm living a dream, so.
You know, when you model your game, you know, you're a guy that is going to be counted on to get to the quarterback, also obviously doing some things in coverage and whatnot. Is there somebody that when you were in college at Louisville, you said, yeah, I want to model my game after X player?
Elvis Dumerville for sure.
Yeah.
James Harrison, Hassan Reddick, Von Miller. There's a lot of guys, but, you know, I'm trying to be the best version of myself, you know, trying to be different from those guys. Probably even better. So,
you know, look, I'm 5'7", right? I totally get it. You know, for a 6'1" player, or at least you're listed at 6'1", you mentioned Dumerville. That is kind of the things that people say about you. Do you use that as a chip on your shoulder, the height issue, if you will?
I don't really look at the height. I got a lot of heart. That's what's been going on. You know, my whole entire life. Been picked last. Everybody didn't believe in me because of my height. But when I'm on that field and I'm doing my work, they'll see.
It was fairly obvious at rookie minicamp, fairly obvious a weekend that you certainly belong here. I mean, not to blow your head up too much or make you read too many press clippings, but do you hear the chatter out there that fans are talking about Yasir Abdullah?
Not really. I kind of get away from social media. I used to be on it all the time in college, but now I'm just, you know, I'm focused on what I can control now. I'm focused on getting to the Super Bowl, winning some games, and, you know, enjoy the time with my brothers here. So.
Yes, sir, as we begin to wrap up, you got drafted by Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence, Doug Peterson, a Super Bowl winning head coach. You mentioned Josh Allen, Trayvon Walker. What were your thoughts about coming to Jacksonville, and is it about what you thought, the organization, the brand new practice facility? How would you assess your time here to this point?
Everything. I can say it in a few words, man. This Super Bowl team right here, we got all the talent, we got all the tools. We just need to go get it.
Final question. You mentioned Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker, two guys are going to be counted on this year. Guys like you are going to be counted on, certainly. You, Caleb Chason, Jordan Smith. Do you welcome, even your first year in the league as a rookie, expectations that this team is going to need production out of Yasir Abdullah?
Yeah, they're going to get everything out of me. That's what they signed me up for. That's what I signed up for, and, you know, I'm going to make everything count.
You've looked great so far, Yasir. Appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Thank you to the Jaguar PR staff. Again, Dylan and everybody down there, they have been nothing short of sensational.
You're welcome.
The other Dylan, yeah, not you're Denmark. I sometimes forget you're Dylan. You're simply Denmark. But thank you to Dylan of the Jaguar PR staff and everybody down there. They have been again above and beyond through the first 2 weeks of Jaguar training camp, bringing you those interviews again tonight. Yasir Abdullah here on Hacker After Dark and JaMycal Hasty on Hacker After Dark, and that'll continue throughout training camp and as we get into the preseason and the regular season. And look, what I've noticed in the guys that I've talked to, particularly the rookies, so far this week I've talked to Brenton Strange, Ventrell Miller, Yasir Abdullah, and Antonio Johnson. Excuse me. The rookie class, a lot of no-nonsense guys, man. A lot of guys with either a chip on their shoulder or a lot of guys that are all business. I mean, Ventrell Miller's the guy that, kind of joked around a little bit, had some fun, but Brenton Strange and certainly Yasir and to an extent Antonio, they were pretty straightforward, man. I didn't get a whole lot of smiles out of them. They were down to business. They were locked in on what they were doing out there and getting better every day at practice. So that's certainly nice to see, as those are the guys to watch, right? As the preseason approaches. Look, you know what you're going to get out of the veterans. You're not going to see a lot of them. You're going to see a lot of these rookies. You're going to see a lot of Abdullah and Johnson and Miller and Bigsby and Strange, and that is certainly something to look forward to as the Jaguar preseason kicks off a week from Saturday out in Dallas as they take on the Dallas Cowboys. Coming up next, Eric Edholm, NFL.com. Speaking of the Jaguar rookies, the Jaguar young players, let's talk about some of them. Expectations, Eric does. Eric's covered the draft for a living for years. He's now with NFL.com. I also want to talk C.J. Stroud at the Texans. I want to talk Anthony Richardson with the Colts. The young players in the South, what can we expect from them as NFL preseason football gets underway? With Dylan Denmark, the Hacker Ryan Green with you. Jacksonville, we're glad you're with us. It's a Thursday night here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Eric Edholm, NFL.com, coming up next.
The future is looking better.
The future's so bright, I gotta wear shades. I gotta wear shades.
The home of Jaguars fans, 1010XL.
Folks, it's finally here. The return of the Blue Crab House after a massive fire. They return and they're open Tuesday through Saturday, 4:30 to 10, Sunday noon to 9. As always, each and every Tuesday, $2 margaritas, $1 oysters on Wednesday. And as expected, the best crabs that you'll find throughout Jacksonville. Same ownership, same management. The Blue Crab House off of San Jose on Jewington Creek Road.
Introducing an exciting update from Duck Duck Rooter. Mia here and my friends at Duck Duck are thrilled to expand on their already long line of home and business services with the launch of Duck Duck Air Conditioning. As a licensed mechanical contractor, the skilled Duck Duck Air Conditioning team is equipped to handle any HVAC and refrigeration project you can throw at them. Folks, it is hot outside. There is no reason to be hot inside. Contact Duck Duck Air Conditioning today at 904-862-6769 or online at duckduckac.com. Whether you're driving a golf cart on the course or off, staying safe should always be a priority. Wolfson Children's Hospital offers tips to make sure you and your child know the safety basics to help avoid crashes and injuries at go.baptistjacks.com/golf cart.
What king in the deck of cards does not have a mustache? The answer next.
Filing any homeowner's claim is really easy with Southern Oak Insurance. Simply file your claim directly with us. We'll handle the vendors. It will save money for you.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
Silly as it sounds, the King of Hearts is the only king without facial hair. Supposedly a design error.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
Coming face to face with nature can take your breath away.
Heart's gonna be pounding pretty good, I'd say.
Jeff Lageman, Captain Kevin Favor, and Captain Kirk Waltz. The Nimnicht Outdoor Show, presented by Duck Duck Rooter. Saturday morning 7 to 10 on 1010XL.
Tim McGraw. In concert. The Standing Room Only Tour 2024. A night filled with your favorite songs. 5-Star Veterans Memorial, March 14th. With special guest Carly Pierce. Get tickets this Friday at 10 a.m. at Ticketmaster.com. Don't miss Tim McGraw, live in Jacksonville.
Cataracts can take a toll on the quality of a loved one's life. Maybe it's even your parents or someone close to you. Hey, Hicken here. I've been talking to you about Bowden Eye. And it turns out renowned cataract care is right here at Bowden Eye & Associates. Their doctors help those with cataracts feel hopeful, sometimes for the first time in a long time. If someone you love is suffering from cataracts, schedule a visit for a personal consultation. 3 locations to serve you, including the new office on County Road 210 in St. Johns County.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. There's a reason Stanley Pools is a family tradition of fine swimming pools. It's locally owned and run by the Stanley family since 1988. I've trusted Stanley Pools to build and renovate our pool, and they do a fantastic job of maintaining it. I've recommended Stanley Pools for years for pool construction, repairs, maintenance, and renovation. Call Stanley Pools at 269-7277 today to transform your backyard. That's Stanley Pools, 269-7277.
The IRS has just received $80 billion in funding to hire additional agents for aggressive collections enforcement. If you owe the IRS, now is the time to take action before the IRS comes after you or your business. There's no time to waste. Call J. David Tax Law, a firm right here in Jacksonville, for a no-cost consultation at 904-507-4777. That's 904-507-4777. Or visit jdavidtaxlaw.com. Peace of mind is only a click or phone call away.
Summertime is here, and it's time to cast those worries out. And Royal is here to help you do that with our summer termite special featuring Centricon. Starting at just $249. That's right, I said $249, and that's installed.
Visit RoyalPestServices.com.
Men, if you're struggling with erectile dysfunction or PE, the medical providers at Prime Men's Medical Center offer breakthrough treatments that eliminate problems in the bedroom without pain or surgery. Listen to a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Prime Men's Medical Center offers the most advanced treatments to eliminate ED and PE. 98% of men experience instant results on their first office visit. They're even lasting 90 minutes or longer, regardless of age or medical history.
Don't just take our word for it. Call Prime Men's Medical Center now for our limited time offer. Your initial consultation and first treatment are completely free. You'll see instant results right in the office. You'll even get a gift that enhances your performance in the bedroom. All this, worth hundreds of dollars, is free if you call now. 904-664-8217. 904-664-8217. That's 904-664-8217.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars, protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line. This is Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, we are glad you are with us. Week 2 of Jaguar training camp going on. They are getting ready for their first preseason game a week from Saturday against the Dallas Cowboys. With that, Eric Edholm, NFL.com, certainly one of our guys here on 1010XL, and he's always kind enough to join us in the city of Jacksonville. Eric, how you doing?
Good to hop back on in Duval. How you doing, man? I'm doing well.
Hey, Eric, always appreciate the time, man. All right, so training camp going on. You know, this is the hopeful time, right? All 32 teams, the fan bases, team media, every practice is great. Everybody looks wonderful. I always get a kick out of that. Eric, I'm curious from a national point of view, do you chuckle sometimes at how great every training camp practice is for every NFL team?
Now, I will say, that theory may not float as well in say, I don't know, Indianapolis right now as it would in other NFL cities. But yes, you do find that the afterglow of the offseason, right? We've had all these acquisitions. We've had draft picks. We've had mini camps. We've had, the first to second year jump for last year's rookies. And, there's a new coordinator. He's got an aggressive scheme, right? I mean, these are the times when we can kind of still ride the coattails of whatever we were punch drunk on this offseason. But, yeah, I mean, obviously reality sets in at some point. Injuries, holdouts, disappointing camp performances, whatever. So I think after the first preseason game and with about a week or two's worth of training camp practices, you start seeing people get a little more anxious, maybe, depending on the team.
Eric Edholm of NFL.com. All right, here in Jacksonville, 13 rookies. You studied them, obviously. You know a lot about the draft class, a lot of guys, and we didn't know what to make of them. But now through rookie minicamp, Eric, OTAs, into training camp, a couple of guys are beginning to stick out. And I want to begin with a guy that was a mid-round pick here in Jacksonville, but at least the thought going in was that he could be maybe round 2, maybe round 3. The fact that he fell to round 5 is really interesting because Antonio Johnson is going nuts in Jaguar training camp. Special teams coach Heath Farwell singled him out today. Mike Caldwell, the D coordinator, has singled him out. I had him on my program a couple nights ago. Unbelievably impressive kid. What do you make of Antonio Johnson, and why do you think he was there in round 5?
Yeah, it's a great question. I liked him more than his eventual draft landing spot. I mean, and that happens. I mean, I can remember thinking, please tell me why Terry McLaurin lasted through the first 100+ picks in the draft, or Tariq Woolen last year to the Seahawks. And there are plenty of guys who I've had, good grades on, and then they end up going lower than we think. And that's about where they believe, should have gone. So I know it's early, but I definitely thought Johnson was going to go higher, especially in a class that was pretty thin at safety. He's got the build for the position. He's got rare length for the spot. He's 6'2", pushing 6'3", pretty good physical build, right around 200 pounds from what I remember. And there was some production, 3 forced fumbles last year, and made plays in the backfield, kind of more of a box safety guy, had some blitzing potential. I remember watching one game. I'm trying to remember which one it was, but you said to yourself, boy, why did they use him more in that regard? But yeah, I mean, there was a lot to like. I think the biggest knock that I heard, and I didn't talk to a ton of guys about him, but there was some stiffness in his game at times. There weren't a lot of plays in coverage. You saw maybe a little bit more of it I guess it would have been his sophomore year. I'm trying to remember. I think he came out as a junior. But just taking kind of a step back and recognizing that things went a little off the rails at A&M last year. But this is a really talented football player. Yes, he's had a few injury concerns. He may not be a phenomenal athlete, but he's a darn good one, I think. And I think this may just have been the Jaguars' benefit. Going back to high school, he was an elite recruit. I mean, I'm here in the state of Illinois, and I heard about him as a high school junior, which, I don't study recruiting all that much, but I knew his name, and he just never quite fulfilled that immense potential. So maybe he's kind of a steal for them.
Yeah, it certainly looks good right now. We'll certainly learn more when the preseason games begin. Further up in the draft, round 2 and round 3, Britton Strange at tight end, Tank Bigsby at running back. Now, the benefit those guys have is they don't have to come in and contribute, right? Obviously, Evan Ingram at tight end here, Travis Etienne at tailback are going to be the main guys. But it's clear, at least watching practice, Eric, that they might have something with Bigsby and Strange. Those guys look like they belong.
Yeah, Strange I got on a little bit late. He didn't have monster, receiving numbers at Penn State. And, you understood why. I mean, they had some pretty good receivers. They always had a great run game. And, it was at times limited in terms of what they could do throwing the football. Plus, he did a lot on special teams as well. And there were some drop issues at times. I think it was the 2021 season where, he got called out a little bit and his role maybe got a little reduced. But, you saw last year just a more complete season. And once I studied him and once I watched him a little bit more, I felt like, okay, he's probably a better athlete than he's given credit for. Not a massive guy, but he's got good thickness. I mean, he was up to, I want to say 250 or something by combine time. I guess the question would be the length. The arm length was probably one of the things that people got a little hung up on. And remember, it was, even though he went second round, I thought that was maybe a little bit higher than he should have gone. I thought this was probably more of a guy who was on that day 2, day 3 borderline, but there was no question, even if he got lost a little bit in the shuffle in terms of what they did offensively, that he was a talented guy with, some versatility to his game. He could play in line, backfield, slot, outside, etc. But yeah, Bigsby was a really interesting one. I mean, I think studying him, you could obviously see the speed and the thickness in his build too. I mean, he's got those sort of big trunks, lower body that the frame is there. Productive career at Auburn. I think there were times when you felt like his instincts and feel wasn't as strong as other backs in this class, this most recent one, when the running lanes weren't sort of laid out for him a little bit, if he didn't have a little bit of a runway. But boy, athletically and strength-wise, just I felt like this was a fascinating player who, in the right role, could make an impact. So, yeah, he probably goes to one of the best spots as a sort of a compliment or a change-up, if you will, to what Travis gives you. So, yeah, I'll be fascinated to see if either or both can kind of crack the rotation a little bit.
Eric Edholm of NFL.com. Yeah, not even to mention a guy like Yasir Abdullah out of Louisville has opened some eyes already. Christian Braswell is a guy they like in the backfield there of the secondary. So the Jaguars appear to have hit on some guys. We'll certainly see as the games start firing up here for the Jaguars a week from Saturday. Finally, as far as the rookie class goes, Anton Harrison. Now, he's had a shoulder, so he hasn't been in a lot of contact, at least this week. But he's the guy, Eric. I mean, he's going to be the guy at right tackle. The interesting thing there, of course, is that he was a left tackle at Oklahoma. I believe he only played one game on the right side. With Cam Robinson's suspension, here comes Anton Harrison thrust right into right tackle. What do you make of that?
Yeah, and normally I would have said, had you told me like in January or something like that, okay, Anton Harrison's going to go, late in round one, he's going to go to a team that needs him to perform right away, a team that's in contention, you would assume. I might have said, whoa, hold on, slow down a little bit. I think at that point I was kind of viewing him as maybe a late second round or early third, but once I kind of got through the process of talking to my sources and going to the Senior Bowl, going to the Combine, I think I realized that, A, he's got the athletic chops to make it right away. I mean, that's what I think kind of separated him. He had some big performances against top-tier talent, too, which I think helped separate himself. A couple games that people have pointed out to say, maybe he wasn't at his best there, but plenty of other evidence that this guy can play at a high level. Always a little bit of a question with their scheme in terms of, what Oklahoma runs and whether that's going to be conducive or translatable to what an NFL offense is. And obviously, having said what you did, which is the injury factor, this is a crucial time for anybody who's pegged to be a week one starter. You want to get him in there, get him as many reps as possible. And as long as I think they feel like they can suit him up with the first team, or how many ever first team reps, the preseason offers for them, I think they'll be okay. And I'm sure they'll give him help. And you mentioned the tight ends. They've got some depth there. I'm sure they can help out scheme wise, and give him a little assistance there. But, athletically speaking, he'll be good to go from day one. I don't think that'll be a problem. It'll be oversetting. It'll be, getting beat on counter moves inside, or, getting too wide in his pitch a little bit. But yeah, if you can clean some of that stuff up. I wasn't completely sold on him, but I got to a very comfortable place with Anton Harrison where, I felt like if he was a late first, early second, I'd feel pretty good about it. And yeah, he's an interesting guy for sure, with development still to come, I think.
A couple more for Eric Edholm of NFL.com. Eric, there's a guy in the Jaguars secondary this year that I think is going to really emerge on the national scene, and that's Tyson Campbell. A lot of people aren't talking about him because maybe the market he plays in, but man, that guy, him and Ridley going at it every day in practice is something to watch, man. And I think Tyson Campbell, and maybe I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, maybe I got the teal and black blinders on being in Jacksonville. I'm just curious your opinion, because I think Tyson Campbell might open some eyes this year.
No doubt. Now, I can't say that I, watched, a dozen games of his last year, but when I did see him, I saw a better player than what I remember from college and what I'd seen the year before. It to the point where I thought, this might be one of the best young defensive backs in the NFL right now. And I think people are taking a little time to catch up. But, yeah, those are the kind of matchups that, iron sharpens iron. You've got a hungry Calvin Ridley, 20 months removed from his last NFL game or more even now, against a young DB who's trying to make a name for himself. Maybe, just got frustrated watching rookies like Sauce Gardner and Tariq Woolen get all the headlines last year, when here's a guy with another year of experience, essentially a first round pick. I think he was 32nd or 3rd overall, first pick of the second round there. He had top 20 athletic traits, and he had some at times third round tape coming out. But, I always said, like a guy like Trevon Diggs with Dallas, that I'd rather have a guy who has that incredible length and athleticism and can flip their hips and all that stuff, and can make plays on the ball downfield. I'd rather have an unrefined version of that, where you could teach them. And obviously the coaching staff, I think, did tremendous work last year with this entire roster after the disaster that was the year before. I'm sure that went a long way towards his development. So I'm with you. I singled him out in a piece I wrote several months ago now, but sometime this offseason, I feel the same way you do, that in time, he's going to be that guy that people start mentioning in the top 5, 6, 7 corners in this league, I think.
Eric, as we begin to wrap up, now that the preseason has arrived, you kind of decompress from everything that transpired this offseason. You and I haven't spoken after DeAndre Hopkins, right, went to Tennessee, Jonathan Taylor, saga that's currently ongoing, as you mentioned, with Indianapolis. How do you summarize the AFC South here in the beginning part of August? Do you still feel that it's Jacksonville and everybody else, or did DeAndre Hopkins maybe move the needle for you when it comes to a team like the Titans?
Yeah, I think had you asked me what I would have thought about the 2023 Titans, I don't know, a couple days after the season ended, you would have thought they were in kind of a flashpoint here where you got to make a decision. Do you stick with the old guys, or do you reboot and you flush the roster and start working on that rebuild? Clearly they chose the former, right? Tannehill's still there. Derrick Henry, you mentioned Hopkins. They made other additions this offseason that made it clear they were trying to stay in contention. I think part of it is, hey, look, Jaguars won the division at 9-8. I mean, that's, you can't say they're a runaway favorite at this point. You would say they're probably they've got a length or two lead over the rest of the field. But I think the Titans looked at it like, hey, we still have Mike Vrabel at coach. We still have Tannehill trying to prove himself. Henry might have one last glory season in him. So I wouldn't overlook him. I think Vrabel's still one of the best in the league. I know the season ended poorly, but I think it's probably right now a 2-horse race. Maybe Anthony Richardson gives the Colts a spark. Maybe C.J. Stroud gives the Texans a spark. But, with the Taylor situation hanging over him, man, it feels like a dark cloud has been planted over central Indiana for, I don't know how long, how many years now, since the meltdown to you guys in week 18 a couple of years ago. It's just been bad news one turn after the next. And it's going to take a pretty heroic job, I think, by Shane Steichen and also Chris Ballard with the contract stuff to get the ship back on the right course.
You can check out Eric Edholm at NFL.com. He's certainly one of our guys when it comes to football talk here on 1010XL. Eric, quickly, tell the good folks here in Jacksonville what you have coming out there at NFL.com over the next couple of days and weeks.
Yeah, I just had a piece out, some possible first stringers who could lose their jobs to younger guys perhaps. And I just filed my Heisman candidates. I think my list is going to look a little different than other people. That's all right, I hope. So I know there's some college football fans down in that area. And yes, I've repped FSU and a couple programs in the area, so it'll have some local appeal. But yeah, lots going on. Next week, got a few more big stories coming out, and we'll see if I can survive August.
It's a great time of year. There is no question about that. Eric Edholm of NFL.com. Eric, appreciate the time, man. We'll do it again soon.
All right. See you, man.
I'm Jeff Lageman, right here on the flagship station of the Jaguars.
That's a heck of a catch.
1010XL and 92.5 FM.
For adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy, now there's Skyrizi, Risankizumab Rizza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months, and Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Nothing in me go hand in hand. Nothing on my skin, that's my new place. Nothing is everything.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, you could achieve 90% clearer skin. Ask your doctor about the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis and visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Hey folks, you know you want shark coatings, and the time is now. So close your eyes and let's imagine your garage. Wait, if you're driving, please don't close your eyes. Just wait till you get home. The rest of you see those cracks, the stains? It looks dark, dull, and dreary. It's nothing you're proud of. It's your house junk drawer. Now, see your floor with shark coatings. It's bright, it's durable, it's fresh. Since it's non-porous, it will be so much easier to clean. Don't imagine your garage, driveway, porch, or pool deck this way. Get with shark coatings and have a brand new space with new possibilities.
There are 16 spots in the playoffs and just one track left. Well, not just any track.
We're basically going to have to win.
Daytona. A last chance to keep playoff hopes alive.
1 point to the good.
And for fans to experience an event unlike any other. NASCAR weekend at Daytona International Speedway, August 25th and 26th. Get your tickets now at DaytonaInternationalSpeedway.com.
We've been telling you for almost a year about Nathan's Family Chiropractic and the 100-Year Lifestyle Network. If chronic back or joint pain is keeping you down, don't listen to me. Listen to what Jacksonville is saying about Dr. Alan Nathans.
The stem cell treatment took the pain away.
Changed my life. It's awesome.
Your body just works better when it's aligned. We're believers.
His no-needle regenerative protocols are giving people their lives back. Get yours back, too. Go to the pro in the know. Don't do another cortisone injection. He's one of us, helping all of us for the past 25 years. For more info, drnathans.com.
Are you drowning in credit card debt? Want to get cash out of your home's equity? Loan Pronto can now do it in less than a week. Hey, it's Prosser here, and that's right. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit just got even faster. You can get $50,000, $100,000, or even $200,000 in as little as 5 days. And you don't even have to touch your primary mortgage, so you can keep that 3% rate intact. Just get the money you need and pay off all those credit cards or get that home improvement project started. With this revolutionary program, you can access up to 90% of your home's value, and in most cases, there's no appraisal. Stop paying insane interest rates to the credit card company and get tens or even hundreds of thousands in cash in as little as 5 days. Call Loan Pronto now for the even faster Equity Express line. 904-999-1508. LoanPronto.com or 904-999-1508. That's 904-999-1508. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
At Andy's Automotive and Truck Services, they know that your company's fleet is more than just a bunch of cars and trucks. It's your livelihood, your reputation, your pride. So when you need routine fleet maintenance or emergency repairs, Andy's offers after-hours and mobile service to minimize your downtime and keep your fleet running like new. While you care for your employees and customers, rest assured Andy's Automotive will take care of your fleet. Visit the team at andysats.com.
I'm Dr. Mitchell Yass, the most unknown world-renowned expert on pain elimination. That's right, elimination. If you've tried medications, injections, physical therapy, chiropractic, even surgery, and still experience pain, then say yes to Yass. I have successfully used the Yass method for over 30 years to help thousands reclaim their lives. To learn more, call me at 904-906-YASS. Let's end your pain and say yes to Yass.
Hi, I'm Sean Monahan from Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach. We're your local family jeweler for 46 years in Jacksonville with a huge selection of diamonds, gemstones, and pre-owned Rolex watches. And Monahan Jewelers is your store for expert jewelry repair turned around in 1 or 2 days. Most jewelry stores take 2 weeks or more, and many stores send your jewelry somewhere else for repair. At Monahan Jewelers, our jewelry repair is done in-house by expert craftsmen, and Monahans can turn around most repairs in a day or two. So bring your jewelry repair to Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. It's Hacker After Dark. on 1010XL.
1 hour down, 1 hour to go. Hacker After Dark on a Thursday. Coming up in the 9 o'clock hour. At the bottom of the 9 o'clock hour, Garrett Podell, CBSSports.com. We'll talk Jaguars. We'll look around the AFC and the AFC South. Garrett does a really good job. He's one of the new guys at CBSSports.com. We have him on pretty regularly. I enjoy his work. So he'll be joining us coming up at the bottom of the 9 o'clock hour. Coming up in less than 10 minutes, my friend Matt Hayes. You see him every day and you hear him every day on Primetime. You also read his terrific work at Saturday Down South. Boy, this Florida State situation is getting stickier by the hour. So Florida State basically wants out, right, of the ACC. I mean, that's where we are. We heard about this in the spring. And I have a lot of Florida State buddies, and all they care about is football, right? All they care about is watching games on Saturday. So they're asking me, what is the problem? Well, it's money. It comes down to money. Money is what makes the world go round. They're mad about money. That's basically what it boils down to. They do not get the money they feel they are due in the Atlantic Coast Conference. Their SEC rivals, like Florida and Georgia, are getting upwards of $25 to $30 million more dollars annually than they are, so it comes down to money. But the interesting thing, and Matt is going to elaborate on a lot of this, it's a really, quite frankly, a very interesting interview that I did. So Florida State fans and heck, college fans, stick around for the next 10 minutes or so, a little less than that, because some of the things Matt says are pretty out there. But Matt's connected, man. Matt Hayes, granted, he's one of my best friends at the station, so I don't think I'm biased. He is one of the national dudes, and we're lucky enough to have him on here every day on 1010XL. And basically, he'll tell you the Big Ten and the Southeastern Conference are not exactly going to be knocking the door down to try to acquire Florida State. And why is that? Well, there's a couple of reasons. Tallahassee isn't exactly the greatest media market. The brand's nice, the heritage is nice, but it's about media markets. Why do you think the SEC went to get Missouri? They wanted St. Louis. What does Florida State get you? Tallahassee. Well, that doesn't move the needle very much. And you think about all the money that the ESPN put into the ACC network, and now Florida State's trying to get out of the ACC, which would hurt the network. You think ESPN and ABC are going to be very happy if the SEC brings Florida State in? Florida State's going to be costing ESPN money trying to get out of that conference after ESPN invested so much in the ACC network. A lot of things that you might not think about. Matt's going to elaborate on all of it. He's coming up next. So some college ball. And again, Garrett Podell, CBSSports.com, back into the world of the National Football League at the bottom of the 9 o'clock hour. With Dylan Denmark, the hacker Ryan Green with you. Jacksonville, we're glad you're with us. It's a Thursday night in Jacksonville, Florida. NFL preseason underway. Zach Wilson, by the way, 3 of 5, 65 yards for the Jets. He is done for the night. Jets have a 6-0 lead over the Cleveland Browns. Let's talk Florida State. Let's talk ACC. Let's talk conference realignment. Let's do it with Matt Hayes next on Hacker After Dark.
Get more downforce on Jacksonville's NASCAR station.
It's showtime!
This Sunday at Michigan International Speedway. Brought to you by the Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Local Union 234. From the station with the most horsepower, 1010XL.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Who's your hero? Before you answer Superman, I don't mean those heroes. I'm talking our local heroes. Do you know one? Beaver Toyota and Beaver Chevrolet want to recognize your hero in a big way. This year, we will recognize local heroes in our community and honor them with a brand new car. That's right, we'll be giving away a brand new car, cash, and free oil changes for life to our local heroes. Visit localwowheroes.com to nominate and vote today. Let's wow our heroes.
This is your Mad Dad's Update with Chapter President Donald Ford.
Well, Jacksonville, as we turn the TV on in hopes of hearing something positive, we're hit with another mass shooting.
or a murder on the local level. It seems to never end. We pray, we fast, and any number of other things. We do have to understand, as James said in the Bible, paraphrasing, prayer without works is dead. We as a community have got to get active to remove these individuals from our streets. How do we do that? Glad you asked. You can become a member of Mad Dash by calling 904-718-1649. We will train you on how to go to the streets to remove the individuals responsible for the crime from the community. We've got to wake up, stand up, and speak up. Hit me on Facebook and tell me what you think. For information about Mad Dash, go to Mad Dash Jacksonville Chapter Facebook or mad-jacksonville.com.
Hey guys, Hicken here. It's hot. The oven is on and it ain't getting any cooler. Unless you stay cooler with Bueller. Bueller Air, still locally owned and still treat their growing customer base like they're part of the family. Go ahead and Google them yourself. Bueller Air, B-U-E-H-L-E-R. You won't find better rated air conditioning company in town. I use them, so I already know. Like I said, it's getting hotter than ever outside, so stay cooler with Bueller.
Bueller Air, stay cooler with Bueller.
Prosser here for Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. With the weather now hot as can be, look ahead and get that backyard ready for fall with a new open-air or screened-in enclosure. Maximize the space you have and make it great with Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. They truly are the best in the business. So if you have the space and the idea, give them a call today. Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. Showroom just off Phillips Highway. Tell them Prosser sent you.
This Day in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On August 3rd, 2007, Alex Rodriguez becomes the youngest player in MLB history to hit 500 home runs, connecting on the first pitch he sees as Yankees beat Royals.
At Cannons of Jacksonville, they know that when you're towing anything, you gotta have products you can rely on. With over 50 years of fabrication expertise, the family at Cannons can repair or install precisely what you need to tow with confidence. Whether it's a heavy-duty hitch, trailer frame, gooseneck, tow bar, or any other towing accessory, Cannons will provide you with unmatched precision and durability. For all your towing needs, visit cannonsofjacks.com, where quality and customer satisfaction collide.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. Call 904-722-1111.
Instant Keys saves the day if you've lost or broken keys. They can program new keys and remotes for nearly every make and model of vehicle at a fraction of the dealership cost. Fast, honest, and reliable locksmith service. Call Instant Keys, 722-1111.
Find your why in your next career move at the First Coast YMCA. Everyone can get involved and make a difference in your community at the Y. And if you'd like to turn your passion into a fulfilling career, the Y is an equal opportunity employer and is now hiring youth program leaders, lifeguards, swim instructors, and more. Plus, Y staff enjoy benefits including free YMCA membership and free childcare while you work. Find your passion, find your why in a career at fcymca.org.
This wasn't how Patrick pictured himself in retirement. Instead of playing golf every day, he could barely walk because of his severe knee pain.
It hampered everything because it hurt to walk around the golf course. It hurt to swing, pretty much doing anything.
But the groundbreaking regenerative treatments at QC Kinetics changed everything for Patrick. QC Kinetics uses your body's own healing properties to help repair and restore damaged tissue in your knees, hips, back, and shoulders. No surgery, no drugs, no downtime.
The turnaround's been amazing from where I was to where I am now. I'm gone from a 15 handicap down to a 7 handicap because my knees allow me to play golf like I haven't been able to play probably in 15 years.
Don't let joint pain keep you from doing what you love. Call QC Kinetics today for your complimentary consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 904-274-5522. That's 904-274-5522. 904-274-5522.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars, protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
Work it, make it, do it, makes us all better, faster, stronger.
It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The month of August has arrived. In fact, 4 weeks from tonight. As a matter of fact, the Florida Gators will kick off their year out in Salt Lake City against the University of Utah. And what on earth is going on with Florida State and the future with them and the Atlantic Coast Conference? A lot to get into with that. Let me welcome in my friend Matt Hayes. You hear him every day on XL Primetime. You read his terrific work at Saturday Down South, and he's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL and Hacker After Dark. Matt, how you doing, man?
Doing great. What's going on, Hack?
Hey, Matt, appreciate the time. I know you're busy this time of year. All right, before we get to on-the-field stuff, you're back from SEC Media Days and want to get your thoughts on everything with the Southeastern Conference. Let's dive right into FSU, man. A lot of news out there, a lot of rumors out there. You're the kind of guy that goes on facts. That's what I love about you. You don't really do the rumor mill all that much. You go on reality. So what is the reality right now, Matt, of where Florida State is with the Atlantic Coast Conference?
Well, I think they want out. I don't think there's any question about that. Their president has said it. The Board of Trustees members have said it. The problem is, where are they going? Who wants them? Because the SEC doesn't want them and the Big Ten doesn't want them. So then what's your options? And I think that's the problem right now that they're looking at. And, you know, I guess you could start a conference. You could try to bring those 6 other members with you at the quote-unquote Magnificent Seven. You could try to bring them with you and start another conference with, I don't know, like SMU because of the Dallas market and, try and get Oregon and Washington. But there's so many problems with that. Beginning with Oregon and Washington are waiting for the Big Ten, and that's going to happen. As soon as the Big 12 falls apart, that's happening. And the Big 12 could fall apart in the next 4, 5, 6 days. So they're not going to do that. Not only that, if you break up the ACC, if you leave the ACC, find a way out of that grant of rights, which, again, I don't know how they're going to do that, but they say they can do it. But if you do that and break up the ACC, what do you think ESPN's going to do? Mm-hmm. Do you think ESPN's going to be happy about that? Because ESPN built that network for the ACC, and it cost millions to do that. It's almost like you've bought a mortgage, and 7 years, 8 years later, you say to your bank, "I don't like the rate, and if you don't give me a better rate, I'm leaving the house and I'm leaving it high and dry." Like, what do they think ESPN's going to say to them? So let's put it this way: let's just say they do that, they get those other 6 teams, they come out, and the Big Ten doesn't expand, which it's going to, and they get Oregon and Washington, and they get SMU, and they try and get some other big TV markets. They get Tulane for the New Orleans market, which really isn't that big of a market, but big enough. You get like Memphis. It's almost like an amalgamation of the ACC and the American, okay, and a couple teams in the Pac-12. Let's say they do that, all right? Who is going to give them a television deal? Because ESPN is not going to give them a television deal after they've broken apart the ACC, after ESPN spent all that money on the ACC network, and now the ACC is no longer a conference. So then you say, who gives them a deal? Fox isn't going to give them a deal. Fox has got billions invested in the Big Ten. ESPN's not giving them a deal because we've seen what they did to the ACC, and because they've got billions invested in the SEC. They're now at the same situation that the Pac-12 was in. There's no linear deal for them, linear TV deal for them. So now you're looking at streaming, and you're not going to get money. You're just not going to get the kind of money that you would get from an ESPN or a Fox. So that's why I say that. The SEC, and Greg Sankey made this very clear, and I've talked to numerous sources in the SEC to say this as well. If they expand in the future, it's going to be for value only. Now, by value only, that means what would ESPN give them more money for? What teams? There's basically 2 teams. It's Notre Dame and it's North Carolina. Everyone else is not going to bring value to them. Okay? Now, here's another thing. Do you really think ESPN's going to give the SEC more money for a team that broke up the ACC network, that broke up the ACC and basically eliminated the SEC network that, again, ESPN spent millions on? They're not going to do that. Okay, so then your other option is the Big Ten. Now you look at the Big Ten. The Big Ten has to move west. They have to move west because they've got USC and UCLA out there, and they cannot leave them on an island. They cannot have those travel issues for not only USC and UCLA. And this is the thing that everybody forgets. It's all 16 teams that have that issue because everybody's got to go out to LA too. So they need to solidify the West Coast there. That's why they're going to add Oregon and Washington and maybe Stanford and Cal too. So the question then becomes, where is FSU going? That's the big question. And if the Big Ten does go south, they're going to go south and get Miami because Miami is an AAU member, which is the Association of American Universities. Florida State is not. Every member of the Big Ten is an AAU member other than Nebraska, which was a member a year ago and they dropped out. So it's a big deal to the Big Ten being an AAU member. And you go to Miami and you get that huge South Florida market. So I don't know where they're going. That's the thing with FSU. It's almost like these guys, and again, I understand why they're doing it, Hack, because where are they right now? They're in the middle of the SEC footprint. By 2027, 2028, all of those teams in that footprint are going to be getting $90 million annually from the media rights deal. And Florida State will be getting about 35 to 40 from the ACC.
Mm-hmm.
So they're in an untenable situation right now. What else are they supposed to do? So I understand why they're doing it. The only question is, where are you going and what are you doing? And I don't think they've figured that out. I think it's just automatically the Big Ten's going to get in. They think the Big Ten or the SEC is going to say, yeah, we'll take you. And that's not what it is.
See, I think you explained it perfectly there. Again, Matt Hayes, you hear him every day on XL Primetime. You read him at Saturday Down South. I got Florida State season ticket holders, Florida State alumni. Now, granted, and I think you know this, you realize this, you're in the inner circle, so you know all the things that are going on. The casual Florida State fan listening tonight is saying, well, the history of the program and the logo and everything that comes with Florida State University, but what you're saying is that doesn't mean anything to the SEC or the Big Ten. It's about media market, it's about AAU, it's things that the casual fan doesn't necessarily think about.
So it's all of that, okay? There's no doubt about that. It's all of that. I'm not saying the Big Ten wouldn't do it. I'm not saying the SEC wouldn't do it. I'm just saying there's a very slim chance. Like if all of a sudden things get crazy and the Big Ten starts adding 6 or 8 teams, if things start to get really, really crazy, then you might. I mean, maybe, but I can't even imagine where it would get to that point where something like that would happen. And I just think you have to understand that it's value. They look at value. What's going to add to their bottom line? What's going to add money? Because the SEC is not going to just add teams. Okay, let's just say the SEC is not just going to say, okay, we're going to add Ryan Green's University and Joe Cowart University, and then we'll pay them, $90 million each because ESPN's going to give us $90 million each for them. They're not going to expand for that. They would expand if Ryan Green and Joe Cowart University brought them another $15 million for every other school in the league, so that everybody got to $115 million. You know what I mean? That's the only reason that they're going to expand value. And again, I also go back to this, especially for the SEC. There's no chance that they're going to get in that league with ESPN. And ESPN's going to say, yeah, we'll give you more money for FSU after they just completely collapse the ACC. And here's another thing you have to look at as well. And again, I'm with you. I understand the FSU, the brand, the football school, and why would you not want them? I get all of that, okay? I am with you on that. So again, I don't want FSU people to think, oh, he's just saying that. I'm not just saying that. I get the situation they're in. I get why they're doing it. And in previous years and in previous, college football history, you'd be a fool not to take Florida State, okay? But why in the world would any mega conference like the SEC or the Big Ten, why would you take a program that just broke up a conference because they couldn't get their way? Are you gonna invite them into your conference? Who says they don't do the same thing to you? Years down the road. So as another thing they've got to look at as well, what they're doing right now has to, at the very least, put the presidents of the Big Ten and the SEC on notice of they'll do whatever they can if they don't get their way. So again, I want to make this very clear. I get why they're doing it. I understand it. I would do it too if I was them. There's no other way out of this thing, because adding teams to the ACC is not going to increase the value of that conference. You could invite Oregon and Washington and Arizona State and Arizona, and ESPN's still not going to give you more money. So I get all of that. I know why they're doing it. It's just I don't know where they're going. I mean, honestly, Hack, the best way for them to get more money, honestly, is to somehow trying to get ESPN to agree to giving them some games to sell on a secondary network. And by that, you'd have to have somebody give ESPN money, then give you money too. And who's going to do that? I mean, it could be a capital investment group that has found a new streaming network that's going to put money into it. I mean, it could be the Saudis. Who knows? Honestly, Heck, I don't know. But if you're the ACC and you're that far behind everyone else, you've got to try everything at this point.
Couple of more from Matt Hayes. You hear him every day on XL Primetime. All right, in the time we have left, let's go rapid fire. You said something earlier that piqued my interest, the Pac-12. Matt, will there be a Pac-12 in 2024?
Yeah, I don't know, Hack. Honestly, it's looking more and more like there won't. Or it certainly won't be what we all know and love as the Pac-12. I can tell you that. The funny thing too is, and everybody keeps forgetting this, is remember the Big Ten reveal of its schedule, and like the SEC did, and they had this new Flex Protect schedule plan, and they're going to have to completely blow that up, because when they add these teams, if they add Oregon and Washington and maybe Stanford and Cal, they're going in 2024 next year. So everything they did with that schedule is done. They'll have to completely redo it. So I if you're going to ask me what are the odds of them being what they are now, I would say slim, very, very slim. But they'll still be a conference. Just I don't think they're going to be. In fact, I know they won't be a power conference.
Now, the Big 12 has reportedly already added Colorado. We know they're meeting out in Arizona almost like every night, it seems like. There's some board meeting out there with the Arizona Wildcats, maybe Arizona State as well. Is the Big 12 positioning themselves to pick up the remnants of what's left of the Pac-12 so that the Big 12 can stay afloat?
So the Big 12 needs – they're probably going to get one more. They could get three more. Here's the thing. ESPN is contractually obligated to go pro rata, which means anyone they add, they get the same deal as everyone else, up to 16. Okay, Fox is not. Fox is up to 14 in that deal. So what it looks like, one more at the very least for the Big 12. Okay. And it almost looks like now whoever takes the spot gets it between Arizona State, and Utah. But it could be three. So if they could figure out a way to get Fox to cover those other two, the Big 12, then you get to all three of those teams, okay, at that rate. One thing we forgot to talk about with the Big Ten is the Big Ten with, let's say they add Arizona and Washington. Those two schools are not going to get the same rate that the Big Ten, the other 16 teams in the Big Ten have. They won't even get close. It'll be a significantly reduced rate because Fox is not going to give the Big Ten that type of money for those teams. So Fox has agreed to add them, okay, but it's going to be at a much lower rate. And it could be Fox or it could be another streaming site. Either way, it's going to, the Big Ten, like the SEC, by like 2027, they're going to be making like $90 million each. But the 2 schools or 4 schools they add from the Pac-12 will probably be around 45 or 50. So it's going to be at a reduced rate, but it'll be much more than what the Pac-12 is offering them, which I've had 3 or 4 different people tell me it's in the low 20s what that deal was pushed out a couple days ago and could get to like 30 million. So it's way more than what they would get there. So that's why they would leave in a heartbeat, obviously. So that's that. And what was your other question about the Big 12?
No, I mean, the Big 12, they're just trying to stay alive at this point, right? They're going to just try to get the remnants of the Pac-12 teams. We know they've added UCF and Memphis and Houston. I mean, is the Big 12 secure with the Big 10 and the SEC and I guess the ACC for the long term?
I'll tell you what, Brett Yormark, the commissioner of the Big 12, in 1 year on the job has just completely – first off, he saved the league. And what he's done has been remarkable. If he gets those Arizona schools in Utah and they go to 16, first off, they will move into or be right there with the ACC as the number 3 league. I mean, it's just it's amazing what he has done, seriously, and it's impressive what he's done. So I think getting those 4 corner schools, Arizona State, Colorado, Utah, heightens their profile big time. Because other than that, you've got Oklahoma State, you got Kansas State, you got Texas Tech, you got Baylor. You've got the old remnants of the Big 12 without, of course, Oklahoma State. And you're like, well, what do you got really? You add those 4 schools, and you got something now. You've got a solid conference. You don't have a Clemson or a Florida State, obviously, but you have a solid conference that, at the very least, top to bottom, is as good as the ACC, and we'll keep them within the idea of, okay, they're still a Power 5, which now is probably going to be Power 4 league.
All right, Matt, we got 90 seconds to go. Final question. We'll get to actual on-the-field stuff in a couple of weeks as, again, the Gators kick off 4 weeks from tonight out in Salt Lake City. Finally, back
Graham Mertz era, baby, the Graham Mertz era.
I know you're high on Graham Mertz, and we'll get to him in a couple of weeks. All right, back to Florida State to wrap up. They are still in the ACC. They've been very vocal about wanting to get out. I mean, what's the dynamic there, Matt? I mean, they have ACC officials reffing their games. That they have to, play nice with the other teams in the conference. I mean, are there going to be problems between Florida State and the ACC right now?
I don't see how there couldn't, Hack. I don't see how there couldn't. That's another thing. I said earlier about, what conference is going to ask a team in that broke up another conference? You have to start looking at that, because if you look at the Big Ten and the SEC, they're very, and you could say this is corny and hokey, they're very family oriented. Both those leagues, there's a reason that they all, like, Vanderbilt makes the same as Florida, and that Northwestern and Indiana make the same as Ohio State and Michigan. There's a reason for that, because they're together. It's a unit that they work together and they move together. And yeah, I don't know that you take a rebel like that. I was talking to an SEC source earlier this week, and I was asking about Texas, because Texas has this reputation of being like this lone wolf, and they get whatever they want. And this SEC source I was talking to said Texas literally has been like a plebe, has been like the low guy in the totem pole carrying everybody's bags, the rookie, the NFL rookie. They haven't said anything. They're not doing anything. They're just trying to fit right in. And that's the best thing you can have if you're an SEC guy, that the idea of Texas just coming in and being one of the group. And if you're the SEC or the Big Ten and you see this rebel breaking up a conference, why do you want to bring that dynamic into your conference? And it's the same thing, if you look, I don't think they're going to get calls from the refs because of this act, but certainly there will be ill feelings around the ACC for it. There's no doubt about it, because they're trying to break up the ACC.
It is a dynamic situation. I mean, the conference realignment makes your head spin, everything that's going on, and so quickly. I mean, there was no talk of this 2 months ago, 3 months ago, and now all of a sudden things are happening basically every day. Matt Hayes, you hear him every day on Primetime. You read him at Saturday Down South. Thankfully, later this month, we will actually have college football games to discuss, which will certainly be a great thing. Matt, appreciate you, brother. We'll do it again in a couple of weeks.
All right, Hack, anytime, man.
We do things as a team, gentlemen.
Jacksonville's live and local sports radio.
We cannot be defeated.
1010XL.
Baloo here for Smunez Vision. Why Smunez Vision? Well, I've been with Dr. Neil Smunez now since I got back to Jacksonville in 2006. 37 years of experience he has. Smunez Vision is a family organization that focuses on personal high-quality medical and surgical eye care. Dr. Catherine Smunez is fellowship trained in cornea and cataract surgery and all refractive surgery. Combined, that's 30 years plus in laser eye surgery. Visit SmunezVision.com today. Care you can see.
We've been telling you for almost a year about Nathan's Family Chiropractic and the 100-Year Lifestyle Network. If chronic back or joint pain is keeping you down, don't listen to me. Listen to what Jacksonville is saying about Dr. Alan Nathans.
The stem cell treatment took the pain away.
Changed my life. It's awesome.
Your body just works better when it's aligned. We're believers.
His no-needle regenerative protocols are giving people their lives back. Get yours back, too. Go to the pro in the know. Don't do another cortisone injection. He's one of us, helping all of us for the past 25 years. For more info, drnathans.com.
Whether you are looking for a job or an employer trying to hire, there's only one stop in Jacksonville, Remedy Staffing. Labor trends keep us guessing. As employers, the job market's been strong. So what does that mean for workers' availability? If you're interested in the workforce solutions or how the Remedy team can help you, call or text Crystal at 904-329-9802. 329-9802, Remedy Staffing.
Exciting news from Woody's Barbecue. Backed by overwhelming demand, Woody's presents their all-you-can-eat chicken special every Sunday with all the trimmings, just $12.49.
At Woody's Barbecue, it's what we do. Let's eat.
Ow! That really hurts. Who throws a shoe?
Helmets and Heels.
Honestly.
With Lauren, Taylor, and Mia.
Tuesday nights at 6.
Driven by Tire Outlet.
And presented by Underwood Jewelers.
You fight like a woman.
On 1010XL.
Where is the Devil's Tower? The answer coming right up.
Having the right homeowner's policy protection means you're staying on top of your most valuable possession, your home. For information on finding an agent, go to southernoak.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
Devil's Tower was designated as the first national monument here in the United States in 1875. It's located in Crook County, Wyoming.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
Committed to the team. Committed to the mission. At Navy Mutual, we're committed to providing high-quality life insurance to members of the military and their families. So our policies have no fine print and no military service restrictions. We don't work on commission. We're nonprofit, so we pass the savings along to our members. Because at Navy Mutual, our highest commitment is to you. Visit NavyMutual.org. Navy Mutual, insuring those who serve.
The IRS has just received $80 billion in funding to hire additional agents for aggressive collections enforcement. If you owe the IRS, now is the time to take action before the IRS comes after you or your business. There's no time to waste. Call J. David Tax Law, a firm right here in Jacksonville, for a no-cost consultation at 904-507-4777. That's 904-507-4777. Or visit jdavidtaxlaw.com. Peace of mind is only a click or phone call away.
Hey, Hicken here. I hope your summer's been as fun as mine. We had some great vacations, did some traveling. Must admit, though, I'm looking forward to everybody kind of getting back into order. My youngest going off to college. Everything got is settling down in the house. Man, the house is taking a beating. So the towel and grout, the carpets and rugs all need a good cleaning. Time to call Zero Res. Right now, Zero Res offering the hottest price of the year on tile and grout cleaning. Get your towel and grout cleaned and sealed, 25% off. Zero Res, man. Spell it forward, Zero Res, spell it backward. Right way to clean.
Flickering lights and hot switches can be annoying. They can also signal a major problem or electrical emergency. So leave it to the pros and Mr. Sparky.
888-8-Sparky. Your on-time electrician, Mr. Sparky of the First Coast.
Men, if you're struggling with erectile dysfunction or PE, the medical providers at Prime Men's Medical Center offer breakthrough treatments that eliminate problems in the bedroom without pain or surgery. Listen to a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Prime Men's Medical Center offers the most advanced treatments to eliminate ED and PE. 98% of men experience instant results on their first office visit. They're even lasting 90 minutes or longer, regardless of age or medical history.
Don't just take our word for it. Call Prime Men's Medical Center now for our limited time offer. Your initial consultation and first treatment are completely free. You'll see instant results right in the office. You'll even get a gift that enhances your performance in the bedroom. All this, worth hundreds of dollars, is free if you call now. 904-664-8217. 904-664-8217. That's 904-664-8217.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars, protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555, Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, we are glad you are with us. Week 2 of training camp for the Jacksonville Jaguars. The full pads have come on, and we are inside of a week and a half until the Jaguars travel out to Dallas for preseason game number 1. Let's talk Jaguars. Let's also look around the rest of the AFC South and the AFC as a whole with Garrett Podell of CBSSports.com. He's certainly one of our guys here on 1010XL, and he's always kind enough to join us in the city of Jacksonville. Garrett, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great, Ryan. Happy to be back here with you. Pads are coming on at practice. The lawns are freshly cut. It's about that time. Football season is upon us. Couldn't be more excited.
Yeah, I completely agree, man. It's been a long off season, but then again, Garrett, kind of a short off season here in Jacksonville. You know, you think back, it has been 6 months since the Jaguars walked off that field at Arrowhead, but boy, it hasn't really seemed like it all that much. A lot has happened here in Jacksonville. The reinstatement of Calvin Ridley, Jawan Taylor leaving in free agency, the Jaguars drafting his replacement in Anton Harrison. In totality, when you think back to that Jaguar team in January that lost to the Chiefs to where they are now 6+ months later, Garrett, do you think they're a better football team now than they were in January?
Well, Ryan, I think they have to be. And I think the main reason why that is simply the comfort Trevor Lawrence has in Doug Peterson's system. He sat down for an interview with some of my CBS Sports coworkers, Pete Prisco and Rick Spielman, and he was talking about how much better he was processing the offense entering year 2, not learning verbiage this time around. And Christian Kirk, I saw in another interview, I think earlier today, said the lights really come on for Trevor. So I think you have to start there. It starts and ends with Trevor Lawrence. And so the fact that he is extremely comfortable entering year 2 of the same system, which is something he hasn't really had much of in Jacksonville in terms of continuity, I think is humongous. You mentioned Calvin Ridley. I saw a clip circulating Twitter a few days ago, comparison of him running a route versus Zay Jones running a route. And Zay Jones is a fast player, but the efficiency and quickness in which Ridley got in and out of that break was something else. So I would say definitely offensively, they look like a much better ball club.
Garrett, we always hear about year 2, right? Year 2 in a given system. And here in Jacksonville, that means year 2 for Trevor Lawrence with Doug Peterson and Press Taylor as offensive coordinator. And when you consider that Trevor hasn't had the same coach offensive coordinator combo in back-to-back years in 4 years of his career. I mean, he went from Clemson to Urban Meyer to Doug Peterson, and now finally he has the same guys with him in that quarterback room. How valuable do you think that'll be for Trevor here in 2023?
I think it's everything, Ryan, because so much of football is having a mastery of what you're doing out there on the field, so that when you're lining your guys up, you're not having to consciously process who's lining up where. Is everybody in the right place? Do I have the snap count right? The fact that those things can be second nature for Trevor in year 2, that allows him to now instead focus more on what is the defense doing across from me? What looks or bluffs are they giving me pre-snap so that maybe I can adjust what we're doing and hit the right player right on the money. So I think that's invaluable that Trevor has that consistency, not only in a system, but also most of his weapons. They re-signed Evan Ingram off the franchise tag to a 3-year, $41 million deal. Christian Kirk's back for year 2. Zay Jones is back for year 2. Travis Etienne, his college teammate, is still there. I think it's huge that he has so much continuity, not only in his system, but in his teammates.
You know, Garrett, it's interesting. Garrett Podell of CBSSports.com here with us on 1010XL in Jacksonville a year ago. And I'm not saying you necessarily, but there were some national guys, you know, from all the various websites, channels, etc., just giving the Jaguars the business. You paid Christian Kirk how much money? Zay Jones, he got that. Evan Ingram, a 1-year, $9 million deal. My gracious. And now it's crazy how much perception and you know, things like that, talk can change in a year's time. Because, Garrett, no one's laughing right now after Kirk, Jones, and Ingram are all coming off career years. We mentioned Ridley. You mentioned Etienne. Man, it's a defensive coordinator's nightmare, right? There's not one guy necessarily to game plan for here in Jacksonville. They got about 5 interchangeable guys that any given Sunday could be the guy that kills you.
I think that's a great point, Ryan, that how much can things change in a year? I mean, this was a team, to be fair to some of the pundits, I'm not saying that was me, it was a team that had the number 1 overall pick in the draft in back-to-back years. So that's not great, but at the same time, I think we've seen the value of competent coaching in Doug Peterson, a Super Bowl winning head coach, and Trevor Lawrence having a real supporting cast being so valuable. And I'm really excited to see what he's going to do with Calvin Ridley this year, because let me hit you with this stat. So Calvin Ridley is one of 5 players who had over 60 catches, over 800 yards, and over 7 receiving touchdowns in each of his first 3 seasons. That club that he's in, the other 4, Justin Jefferson, the reigning offensive player of the year, Odell Beckham Jr. in his awesome start to his career in New York, A.J. Green, who had over 1,000 yards pretty much every year for his first 7-8 years in the league, and Randy Moss, who, depending on who you talk to, is the 3rd, 2nd, or 1st best receiver ever to put on shoulder pads in the NFL. So Calvin Ridley, I think he can take this offense to another level. I'm really excited about the Jacksonville Jags this year, and specifically how they can do in an AFC South that's in transition in a lot of other places around the division.
Absolutely love that stat. Yeah, and by the way, I'm sure you've noticed when you see the highlight tapes, the fans here in Jacksonville have really taken to Calvin Ridley. They absolutely love the guy. A couple more for Garrett Podell of CBSSports.com. Garrett, the offensive line is the big question here, right? Cam Robinson suspended for the first 4 games of the year. Walker Little at left tackle. Anton Harrison, the rookie, at right tackle. A potentially pretty interesting problem when Cam Robinson comes back in Week 5, but can that offensive line hold up enough to where those skill position players can thrive?
Yeah, that's a tough question just because Anton Harrison, he's a rookie. Offensive line, that can be a position where it can go either way. A guy clicks right away or there's a bit more of an adjustment period. I feel comfortable with Walker Little at left tackle to start. He's got 6 career starts, but has played a ton of football in the NFL. I mean, he played all 17 a year ago. So he has fantastic experience. I think Trevor, one thing that he's really great at is hitting his first read. Actually, he threw the ball to his first read on 75% of his passes, which according to Fantasy Data Suite is the highest rate in the NFL. So what that says to me is that if he sees his first option open, he's very efficient at getting there, as well as he's pretty good at escaping pressure and avoiding negative plays. He only took sacks on 4.4% of his dropbacks last season. That was the 4th lowest rate among the 33 qualified quarterbacks last year. So even if things are breaking down, he either is really great at finding that first read and getting the ball out, or he's great at avoiding the rush and figuring something out because he doesn't take sacks. So I think when you have a quarterback like that, I think that can mitigate a lot of the pressure that you may have on an offensive line that is relatively inexperienced.
Garrett, you and I haven't talked since DeAndre Hopkins went to the Tennessee Titans. When D-Hop signed in Nashville, did that move the needle for you as far as what you think about the AFC South?
It did move the Titans up in my eyes into a tier of can compete for the division title. Before his addition, I didn't really see a path for them to contend in the AFC South. Now, I think they can contend, but I still think this is Jacksonville's division because Ryan Tannehill, he's coming off a really injury-plagued year. He's in the last year of his contract. Derrick Henry last year of his contract. There's just not a lot of faith in Tennessee, it seems like, in terms of what is the future of this team going to look like. And I think Tennessee is a team that's got one foot in on the future. They traded up to draft Will Levis and then 1 foot on the present. To me, I just think Jacksonville is such a cohesive vision in terms of, we mentioned all the continuity offensively, defensively. It's a lot of the same starters back on that side of the ball too. I really like their signing of Darius Williams. I think he can, be an impact player for them in the secondary. And I think this is still Jacksonville's division. I think Tennessee will be a lot more competitive because now when Tennessee lines up, you do have to respect one of their pass catchers. But at the same time, I still don't like the options they have behind him. Treylon Burks was a first-round pick, but he's still a lot wait and see to me in terms of what he can be in the NFL.
Final moments here with Garrett Podell of CBSSports.com. Garrett, the soap opera going on currently in Indianapolis with Jonathan Taylor. Look, I don't know how it's going to end. It certainly doesn't look good right now. A distraction like this, how do you think that'll affect the Colts roster? A Colts team, by the way, the Jaguars see twice in the first 6 weeks, including on opening day, Sunday, September 10th.
I think that's really fortuitous scheduling for Jacksonville to catch this team early. And to me, it's less about the distraction and more about just the youth on that team. I mean, they selected Anthony Richardson fourth overall out of Florida. I think he's going to be somebody who catches on later on in the year. He didn't have a tremendously huge body of work in college. So I think that scheduling is really great. And as far as the distraction impact, I just think they need him out there. Zach Moss, another running back on their depth chart, he suffered an injury in training camp today. So just their depth at that position is really thin. And having a solid running game can really help out a young developing rookie quarterback like Richardson. So I think just the big thing for them is figure out how to make Jonathan Taylor happy. But like you said, it's gotten pretty contentious. The Colts on Sunday talked about putting him on the non-football injury list for a back injury. And then Jonathan Taylor tweeted out that he's never reported a back injury and doesn't have one. So to your point, it's looking really ugly there. Now, if they can come to some sort of agreement on a raise for this season or something like that, similar to Saquon Barkley, maybe the distraction goes away and everything's fine. But if I'm the Colts, I would do anything in my power to rectify the Jonathan Taylor situation because he could be Anthony Richardson's best friend this year. And without him, I think the basement really falls pretty far in terms of how good their offense could be or how much it could struggle rather early on when the Jags play them twice.
Garrett, as we begin to wrap up, the other team in the division, the Texans, look, I think across the board, people believe the arrow is pointing up in Houston. DeMeco Ryans, C.J. Stroud, Will Anderson, they signed some good veteran free agents. No doubt the Texans are going to be better. But is that relative? Are they going to be so much better they can compete this year, or do you believe they're still a year or two away?
No, I think they're still a year or two away. I did, like many, like their additions on offense. It's cool that John Mechie's out there and practicing after he had an illness that kept him out of his rookie season a year ago. I like Robert Woods as a veteran in that wide receiver room. And C.J. Stroud, I think, was the right pick for them at number 2 overall. And Dalton Schultz at tight end was somebody who Dak Prescott relied on heavily in Dallas over the years. So I really like kind of the growth that they could have on offense, but I think they're still a few years away. Defensively, they're one of the worst defenses in the league. Now, DeMeco Ryans coming over from San Francisco and coordinating the number 1 defense in the league. He's a great guy to have on that side of the ball running that unit, but it's a lot of young guys, promising young guys. Will Anderson has looked good in camp. Jalen Petrie and Derek Stingley were good in the secondary for them a year ago, but I think the Texans are a team Jacksonville will have to worry about maybe in a couple of years.
Garrett, as we say goodbye, look, the AFC is loaded. We know that from Mahomes to Burrow to Allen, Lawrence, Jackson. I mean, you just can keep going on down the line. Deshaun Watson, future Hall of Famer, and Russell Wilson that people don't even talk about. I mean, it's crazy the amount of talent at quarterback. But we've already seen some issues, right? Jalen Ramsey in Miami, out until probably December if they're lucky. Cincinnati got away with one with Joe Burrow. He's going to be out several weeks with a calf strain, but he should be good to go by opening day or soon thereafter. Injuries are going to tell the tale of this AFC. Is it still Kansas City and Cincinnati to you, followed by everybody else? How would you assess maybe, the top 3, top 4 teams in the conference?
Well, as long as Patrick Mahomes is standing upright in Kansas City, the defending champs, they're going to be up there. And what you said about Joe Burrow calf strain, probably going to be fine. You have to put those guys up there. Same with, I think, the Buffalo Bills. I think that's your tier 1 of top 3 teams. But then right below that, your tier 2 of teams that could kind of break that oligarchy of those 3 teams that have participated in the AFC Championship game the last couple of years. I think Jacksonville could be up there, along with a team you didn't mention, the New York Jets. They got Aaron Rodgers to pair with their defense that was the number 4 scoring defense in the NFL a year ago, and has a lot of young pieces there. I think you have the Jets, Jags, Los Angeles Chargers, Baltimore Ravens. I think that's kind of your tier 2 of teams that, if everything clicks really well, they have a chance to break through. So I think Jacksonville is right there. They were extremely clutch in the first round of the playoffs, coming back from 27-0 to beat the Chargers, and were just a few plays away from really making things interesting in Arrowhead in the divisional round a year ago. I think they're right there. I think they are right there. And if Trevor Lawrence can make a humongous leap in year 2 in Doug Peterson's system with Calvin Ridley and the rest of his offensive cast, I think that Jacksonville's in a great position to be competitive and spicy up at the top for years to come.
Garrett Padell of CBSSports.com. Garrett, tell the good folks here in Jacksonville what you have coming up there on CBSSports.com over the coming days and weeks.
Yeah, Ryan, it's a really, really busy week. I'm going to take a look at some of the top running back competitions across the league this week. I'm going to look at some of the top tight end draft prospects. Never too early to look at 2024 NFL draft stuff. I'll be covering the Hall of Fame game for CBS Sports. I'll be doing a recap on that on Thursday, and have a lot of content coming your way over on CBSSports.com. Training camp is here, and we've got you covered wall to wall.
It is a great time of year. There is no question about that. Garrett Padell of CBSSports.com. Garrett, appreciate the conversation as always. Let's do it again, maybe the week of the opener when the Jaguars go up there to take on the Indianapolis Colts. Appreciate you, my friend.
Thanks, Ryan. I already got it on my calendar. Have a great rest of your training camp.
And thank you to Garrett Padell of CBSSports.com for joining us tonight here on Hacker After Dark. As, the Jaguars, the AFC South, the rest of the AFC, it's interesting. The Jaguars play in arguably the easiest division. Heck, not arguably. It is the easiest division in the conference. Yet you look at the talent overall in the AFC, it's nuts, right? You look on the East, from the Jets to the Bills to the Dolphins. You look in the North to Baltimore, certainly Cincinnati. Even Cleveland and Pittsburgh both think they're going to be pretty good. And then out west, you certainly got the world champions in the Chiefs, the Chargers. Can Sean Payton and Russell Wilson do anything in Denver? So the AFC is absolutely loaded, and it'll certainly be interesting to see where the Jaguars fit in the grand scheme of things. Well, that'll just about do it for what has been a very busy Thursday night edition of Hacker After Dark here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Certainly want to thank you guys for hanging out with us this evening. We have a ton of people to thank. Again, Garrett Padell, I'm one of my guys over at CBSSports.com. Thank you to Matt Hayes. You hear him every day on XL Primetime. You read him at Saturday Down South as we talked Florida State's future in the Atlantic Coast Conference realignment. Will there even be a Pac-12 a year from now? There is a lot going on in that department. Eric Edholm, NFL.com, as we took a good hard look at the Jaguar rookies heading into preseason action. Again, the Jaguar preseason begins a week from Saturday out in Dallas, taking on the Dallas Cowboys. And then back in hour number 1, speaking of Jaguar rookies, thank you to rookie defensive lineman Yasir Abdullah for joining us tonight. Of course, the 5th-round pick out of Louisville. And also running back JaMycal Hasty, entering his second year with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Hasty was good last year. Caught 20 passes, had about 200 yards rushing for the Jags last year. We'll see what he can do this year. But again, thank you to both JaMycal Hasty and Yasir Abdullah for joining us after practice. And thank you to the Jaguar PR staff who has done such a great job setting all those interviews up for us here on Hacker After Dark. We'll be back tomorrow night on a Friday to close out the week and we will do it all over again beginning at 8 o'clock. Dylan Denmark was your producer tonight. Dylan, great job as always. I'm the hacker, Ryan Green. And again, Jacksonville, thank you for spending part of your Thursday evening with us right here on Hacker After Dark on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. So for all of us here on HAD, have an absolutely terrific remainder of your Thursday evening, and we will talk to you tomorrow night to close out the week on a Friday beginning at 8 o'clock. Until then, good night, Jacksonville.
Rick Ballou for Carlson Dental. You know, I've been telling you this for quite some time because it's true. I hate going to the dentist, or at least I used to hate going to the dentist. I had total anxiety, and then I tried sedation. Light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation as well for cavities and root canals. Folks, it's an incredible experience. So don't be nervous. Don't be scared. Go to CarlsonDentalGroup.com. That's CarlsonDentalGroup.com for all of your dental needs.
Time now for a medical recap. A health and wellness tip from Jaguars head team physician Dr. Kevin Kaplan.
Rotator cuff tears are the most common overhead injuries I see. In order to avoid shoulder issues, make sure not to overload the front of the shoulder while also focusing on developing good scapular strength.